Hello everyone and welcome to day 5. Hope everyone's well and following along, and they're finding these backgrounds really easy, hopefully. Hopefully you are anyway. Um, Today we're going to do a stippled bokeh. We're going to be doing it with ink pads and pastels, and I'm showing you the blooper moment, the stipple, because in the next 4 days, so for day 6, 7, and 8, it's going to be a bubble backgrounds, different types of bubble backgrounds. So I need the stipple effect for the next bubble one, so I need to show you how to do the stipple effect, so I don't need to repeat that part on the next video. So hence why this one's first. So I've done loads of different bokeh now. I've shown bokeh on my live streams, and I've also shown it on my uploaded videos. So I didn't want to do a pencil one, so I wanted to do a different kind of one. This is one that I've done earlier. This is more of a rainbow one, and this black one I didn't like, so we'll scrap that one. So it's going to be this type of thing, but a different colour. So my hands are already full of pigment ink because I've been pre-recording stuff, so I do apologise if my hands are artistically mucky. So we're going to go and start. So I'm going to be using today the Pebbles Classic Chalks because I want that chalky pastel going over the top of the ink. And I'm using my Dovecraft pigment ink, and I'm using a beauty blender to do the stippling. I know I try and keep calling it stapple. I'm strange. So there'll be the media and the materials I'll be working with today. So I'm going to zoom in now onto this top section here so you can see what I'm doing. Now let me just brighten it up again. In the day, the there we go. It's really bad, the lighting in here in the day. In the night it's all right, but in the day it's really bad. So I'm going to start off, and I'm just going to use a bit of the white first, because at the minute I don't have loads of these colours. So I'm going to use the white, and you won't see what I'm doing. I'm just randomly putting that on. That's just so I get lighter areas when I come to put the green on. So this is the Shape Beauty blender I use, purely because it's got a point if you want to work in finer areas, and it's got a bubble bottom. So I can use multiple different colours around the edge. They are amazing. And I also use these for pastels as well. I have a bunch of them, different shapes and sizes. So today I'll be using this bad boy. So I'm going to get my pigment ink, the green one. Now this is quite green, hence why I put the white down first. And I'm just going to dab it in my pigment ink, so we get quite a bit on there. I'm going to dab it a bit off on my cloth because I don't want it to literally go and a big blob. Sorry for the sound effects. So what I'm going to do is stipple. So we're making these strange kind of pattern in there, any kind of random pattern you want. And then what I'm going to do then is start lightening off, because the more, this is why I took off some of the excess, because when you start traveling it around now, and I love the fact that you get the round stipple with it. It keeps that round, that bokeh sensation is there before you've even started adding anything to it. So we're going round now. I'll be adding some lighter white back in a second, but it's only one dab and we've done all them areas. If you want some darker areas, just press it in a bit harder and then work it out. See? And it gives it that really nice effect. And I thought today I'd use the creative background sheet because this can be implemented on any background in any book. And what I'm going to show you around the edges, because what we struggle with when we use pigment inks, you can use these, you can use these. There's little tools you can buy for smaller areas, but what I like doing, and wondered if they get moved. Oh, I've moved them. And they're going to blame somebody else. I've moved them. So we're just going to get our trusty Q-tip, dab it in so you get a nice bit of green on the end, and you're just going to rub that in, kind of try and keep the same kind of motion. Get your dry end if you get too much in one spot, and just keep rubbing it. So you do need to be careful. So what, just dab it in, dab it on a piece of cloth or a piece of tissue so it takes some of the excess off. I mean, I'm not too bothered if I get too much of a pigment in an area, because once you've got in your little areas, you can just work over the top of it and kind of pull it out anyway. Or better still, get a spare piece of paper. This, by the way, was my horizon I tried to do, which was an epic fail. You could always get a spare piece of paper, dab it on, take that first excess off on a piece of paper like this. So then when you come to move on to the page that you're working on, you don't get that same heavy green going on. And just keep light-handed, but that's how I do that. So what I'm going to do now is just go back in with the white. You're probably going to get the green coming off. What I do is just dab a bit of white in to lighten up some of them green areas. Not transferring too much green on actually, which is good. So this is my stipple effect background in what I'll be using for the watercolour background, which I have pre-done, which is here. Where is it? This will be for the bubbles background, so that's been pre-done for tomorrow's background. So now we're adding in, I could do with a yellow. I thought I had a yellow ink pad and it's grown legs and walked off somewhere. So I'm going to source some more colours. Or else I would probably add a bit of yellow in this as well. But all we're doing is just to give it a bit of a smoky, stippled effect in the background. So just let that have a minute to dry. Just put my lids on everything because I am terrible for leaving things lying around. That in the bin because you don't need it. I'm going to put these over here out the way because they're now used and wet. I don't want them to be left lying around. So this is a bit of a mixed media. Now you all know I have my trusty circle, so you just, all you need is a circle stencil. I have this because it's purely big enough for colouring books, and if I want a bigger circle than this I'll just use a compass, but for me this really works. So what I want to do, I love this Pebbles one because you've got it's a nice little neat box, but you've got different variants of greens, and that is what we're going for in this bouquet. So it's quick and simple. So I'm just going to grab one that's for my white, and I'm just using the little tiny balls and getting some nice white on there for these white ones. And I'm just going to put that in. These ones don't want to show up. May have to use my faber castell ones. It's not showing up. I'll try the yellow. Might be that the white's too white. How odd. I'll just get my white faber castell ones out. Like a good, I love these. These are probably my favourites. These are way more chalky than the pebbles, but I really wanted to use the pebbles if I'm being honest. Let me just try this out. The tulip from the pebbles kit out. I think it's the cotton wool ball that's not working. That is so odd because all the others worked. Because I sealed them. Okay, let me just go in with, I wonder why they're not working. We're going to have to go with the dark greens. I'll go with the brighter colours in it because obviously these lighter ones are not working for whatever reason. If you just look up in the right hand top corner in a minute or so, there will be a real-time video of me doing it in the Johanna Basford's How to Draw Inky Wonderlands image. So you can see that in how it's done on a colouring book. This would be nice in like your forest effects. I really thought the light colours, but what I might do is actually freehand them in with my Faber Castell one. It'd be really nice as a background in between your forest. I'm going to show you a technique of a forest one. What I did in my Jasmine Beckett Griffith book, where I drew the trunks in, but I did it with Neo colours, and it came out really well. It was very effective and it was extremely creative. Showing that in there to make a smaller blob. There we go. So that's starting to take effect. So now I want to use this turquoisey green. That one's nice. Half one here. And half one here. It's important you do your half ones. And don't worry if it goes over. This is what we want. This is what we're looking for, where it's going to cross over different bubbles. I can have one here. I'm going to add a little bit of this blue in. Not the little sponge actually. Just turn this round and put some little blue ones in. Important we dot these little ones in. As they make up. But can you see how that stipple effect gives it that depth that you're after in your bokeh? Let's put another one in over here. And it's just quick and simple, this as well. So let's get some bigger ones going up here. I'll just drop that in there because obviously we'll be using them again. I want this blue. Because even though the blue, I've done the green background so it'll keep that green undertone. But it just makes these a deeper, richer green. You see? It keeps it really, really soft. And all I'm doing is just using the bubbles that are in front of me on the grid. I think I've got about a cluster of 3 there. Okay, it's getting a really subtle, beautiful bokeh effect. So here, I'm going to purposely be more methodical about this one, and I want to come round the outside of that little green one, what's there. You take it off, the other one is still in front of it. So next I'm going to move on to a blue. So let's grab a blue sponge. The darkest blue, which is this colour. And I'm going to turn, so I see. Let's put it this way and kind of add that in between there. I'm going to add one over the top of that. And this blue will just give it that depth that we're looking for again. So you don't want it to just be all too light, you need it to have light and shade in your bokeh. And this one here can be a full. And then one in here. So if you're wondering what I'm using, I have gone back to the pebble. So I've used this green, then this, and now I'm on this green. This blue, should I say, and this is giving us a nice effect on here. And I'll lift that off. You see the effect we're getting now. And what I'm going to do, I'm now going to use a grey. I'm going to use a little tiny blob of the grey, which is the grey at the bottom. So it's not a majorly heavy grey, it's just a nice grey. And I'm going to use the edge of the smaller ones. I need to get hold of that a bit better. I'm going to rub that in. And fade it out with the other side I'm not using. And just see if that gives the effect I want. And do the whole thing. I just want one edge of it to be slightly dark, so I'm just going to jump in that black. And then I want a grey one over here. Grey and green work beautifully together. But I like doing it with these pastels because it gives your bokeh a really soft edge. Sometimes when you do it with pencil it can look a bit too too heavy, where this will keep it really soft. And this would be really good for your kind of furry, whimsical type of background, where you want it soft but effective. There we go, let's have a see. There we go. Can you see that? And just put the little tiny blobs in where you want. I think that looks really good. So let's bring some yellow ones in over the top of that again. Let's see if the lighter one will work this time. With a really light yellow. I don't think the really light ones aren't working on this one. They have worked on my black one. They're not working on this one. I have a little tiny bit. Let's give it a little cast. But I'm going to use a bright yellow. I just want a bit of yellow on this here. It's a bit dark in this area. Much better. And if you wanted to, you could go in with a pencil. So I've got here lime green. And you could bring that edge if you wanted to on some of them. Give it a nice little highlight in some of them darker ones. Pencil goes over quite nicely anyway. If you follow your circle's edge, see, just adds a bit of depth. Grab another green. This jade green, so I'll use this in some of these. And just give you a little bokeh bit, a bit of brightness if you wanted to. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing this as an example. You know, if you just wanted to bring a bit of shape into it, a bit more than what you've got. Sometimes I like doing this just to emphasize the other ones that are underneath. Where else have we got a darker one? We've got a dark one here. Let's just add in a little bit of pencil. Just helps it get that little bit of lift. Let's just find a darker green. This is shamrock. But don't go right to your edge because you still want that faded off edge that you've created with the pastel. It just gives it a little bit more texture to your bubbles that you've got going on, or your bokeh creation. And it helps with that depth of ones that are more further forward, some that are further back. I mean, you do have to be careful with greens because it can look a bit sick. You've created a bit sick, but not today. But I didn't want to do it with pencil purely because I didn't want to do the whole thing with pencil because there's already a video on my channel that shows the I'm finding ones that look like the pencils I've got. Like this one here, I want to try and make another one above it. Put the green above the grey. It's more like an olive green. We're keeping that soft edge. A lot of green going in here now. I have to put some back. Some of this. Get some bright colour like my arties it is. Like I said, you don't have to do this. I'm just showing you little bits of extra techniques that you can use to emphasize it if you really wanted to a bit more. Sticking my pencils everywhere. Let's get absinthe green out here. See, it just literally brings that definition out just a tiny bit more and helps that illusion that that ball is at the back of this one, but yeah, it's in the front of this one. So yeah, you don't have to do this step, but if you just want to give it that extra oomph, you can. I don't know why my camera is making it look, it doesn't look, they look green to me, but in here, see, this looks blue. Just see if it's the brightness. Yeah, if I take the, there you go, that's how green it looks to me. But what I wanted to get was some white in it. I wanted it lighter. Let me freehand the white pastel chalk in. So like this one here. I'm going to freehand a circle in here. So if your OCD gets you, I'm very sorry if it's not perfectly circular. And just colour that in. And top section here. I'm just going to give it a little rub with my finger in a circular motion. And that'll hopefully make it look soft like the other ones. Just add some, have a bigger half circle here. It's not hard, it just helps you then bring some lighter tones at the top of it. And then rub it in with my finger. You can still see the other ones underneath, which is good. Just lift the brightness. I seriously need new lighting. See if I can fit a big one in here. I'm just rubbing it out with my finger. I don't want to lose the image underneath, if that makes sense. So I'm going to freehand one in here. Kind of one popping out. Really enjoy stuff like this. Just creating on top of creating. Let's get another big one here. like that effect. It's got like a swirling marble effect inside it. That's another background I can't wait to do. So let's just put one more popping out here. I'm thinking, shell, that's not a flaming circle. It's a shell circle. That's what it is. It's a shell circle. A slightly off centre one. So let's just put some little circles here and there. And then I'm going to get another light one on top of that, because you can just keep layering and layering and layering with these. Let's put in a light one here. Your circle is kind of your guide. I'm going to freehand some of these in because I'll not fit that in there. As long as your free-handed circle resembles some kind of circle, don't worry about it. Unless you've got wild OCD. Should have just sat and free-handed them all in from my ear anyway. But no, I like the depth it's got in the back. And this is just bringing you closer, more focused ones in. Some of these circles are making me laugh. They're not even the very odd circle shapes. Shell circles, we'll call them. There we go. I quite like that. Just going to put one over the top of this one here. And just rub that in. Blowing off the excess. Let's see if we've got a lime green we can put on. We do. So these are the light colours. You'll not get this effect without freehanding it. So let's put one kind of crossing over this one. A lot of excess dust come off that one. Right, wipe my hands off and give that a shaking again. And then I'm going to put one here. Need a corner. It's not giving me. It's quite crumbly, this one. But I'm starting to really love these Faber Castell chalks. So you can still see the one on slightly underneath, but all it's going to do is give it a lighter texture. I'm getting covered. Let me just get a plain Q-tip. My fingers are getting full of dust I don't want. Okay, and I think that is a really good looking bokeh. I think if I do any more, it's going to start looking too much, and that's give some nice ones to the forefront and there's some deep ones to the back. So that's how you can achieve a bokeh background using ink pads and pastels, which was a combination of obviously the pebbles, chalk, and these the Faber Castell soft pastels. And here is the full image of the Stippled Bokeh background in Johanna Basford's How to Draw Inky Wonderlands book, because I chose this image because you could do all the plants and the leafage all in the background, and that would be your focus. It would draw you into the middle. So I thought that was a really good example to use. So I hope you do try this one out, because I've really enjoyed doing it on this page, and I'm definitely going to finish it because it's now a whip. But it's just so you can see the blown up version of it, and I hope you like it. So we've used the pebbles, the pebbles, chalks, and we use yellow, green and blues. Yellow, greens and blues. And then we've used Faber Castell, and we've used pigment ink. White, green, and we've also used Faber, Faber Castell, white, yellow, like a lime, green and cream to create that. So try and look beyond that, it may look a bit sicky. But on a forest background that would look fantastic. And on the background I'm going to show you as well the stipple effect, but with all different colours of greens, but I'm going to do it with the neo colours, and I'm going to put branches in it. So I will be showing you how to do like a forest background in one of these days through January. So I hope you've enjoyed the Stippled Bokeh, and you can do it. I did the blue rainbow effect one, and then I sealed it with glitter. I don't know if you can see the glitter. So I sealed it with glitter so it won't rub off. Or you can do what I did the other day, which was wet a beauty blender and daubed it all over. Or you can spray it with your fixative when you do that outside. So that's that one done. And if you go onto your lines, or should I say, if you go out of your lines, you can rub pastel out. So can you see that there? So anywhere where I've gone over, it will just rub out. So don't be worried if it's a really complicated background and you're doing it with pastel. In fact, I think that's rubbing out some of that pigment ink as well. So I think I went over the edge with the pigment ink. I don't want to rub. There we go. You can neaten off your edges. So that is my Stippled Bokeh. If you enjoy it, give me a lovely thumbs up. Drop your comments below on what you think of this background. And the colours you can do is endless. Just do the same process but with different backgrounds first, and then use your pastels. Just remember that some of your pastels may not show up, so if you want lighter ones to show up, freehand them at the end and put all your dark ones in the background. So I hope you've enjoyed that one. That's my way of doing a bokeh. And if you want to see the pencil version, it's on my playlist, Colouring Pages, and it's the Johanna Basford like Christmas tree ornament. And it's like a reddy gold bokeh. That's how I do it with pencil. And I've also done, I think I've done another bokeh somewhere on my channel, but I'll have a look. But there are different tutorials on my channel if you want to see them. So that's day 5 done and dusted, and I will see you tomorrow for the next one. Thank you everyone who's been following along, and the amazing comments and the support I've been getting from doing this series. I know it's a crazy mad idea, but if it's helping a minority of people, then I'm happy. If it's helping a massive amount of people, then I'm even happier. So hopefully it's going to be very successful by the 31st of January and everyone's talking about a shellarty background. But have a lovely day everyone, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.